Sweet Sensation by Heavyweight Rockers, yay, and Jesse Royal, our video pick of the morning. Now, there's a thin line between being lonely and alone. And with all the social distancing and indorsing that's going on, we have to wonder what the ramifications are going to be like at the end of it all. Licensed associate counseling psychologist Janelle Reid is weighing in with some social distancing, of course. Good morning, Janelle.
Good morning.
How are you today? You look very ready for your meeting.
Yes, I am. Thanks. Good morning. I'm doing good. How are you?
We're
Not too
social
bad. Not too
distancing.
bad. But you're ready on a Saturday morning, properly dressed, properly attired. You have on your good jewelry, good touch up here. But I want to get to the meat of the matter. How will we survive?
How will we survive?
Yeah.
So, being alone, right? We can be in a crowd of people and feel alone, or we can be by ourselves and have some sense of belonging. So there can be positive and negative effects of being alone, right? Being alone gives us a chance to become aware of ourselves, noticing how we might be talking to ourselves. And that self-talk as well can be negative because we are our biggest critics. So spending time alone, we might end up negatively telling ourselves, you did this wrong. Or for example, if you set a goal this year to lose weight and this morning you wake up, you just feel extremely tired and you don't feel like working out and you gave it a rest, right? You might end up saying, look at you can't even get through 3 days without breaking the goal that you set. So that negative self-talk as well, we have to be mindful of what that might look like. Being alone helps us to boost our creativity, right? And we become a bit more inspired. I'm sure with what is happening now with a lot of social distancing, a lot of people have discovered parts of themselves. They might engage in creating not necessarily just artwork, but I'm sure especially for Jamaica, we may not have at the click of a mouse to order things online, but I'm sure now a lot of businesses have developed their platforms in order to make that happen now. So that again comes from a bit of social distancing. And it also gives us a sense of being able to maintain some form of independence in relationships when you spend some time alone. I think about the character Maggie in Runaway Bride when I consider this part. And when you consider her, what she liked for eggs, every morning it was the eggs that her spouse liked. She had no sense of self or being. And it wasn't until she spent some time with herself, she got to realize, maybe I don't really like my eggs boiled or fried or poached. So it gives us that sense of, who am I in this relationship?
All right, so you have established that there are pros and cons to being alone.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. How do we get ourselves to focus on the pros as opposed to thinking about the cons that can happen?
Okay. So I think that being aware of our self-talk is very important. I think as well, having some kind of routine in what is happening now so that you still have some sense of feeling connected, right? Calling other people that you're already close to, video chatting with them. I see a lot of, like, even people, I keep going back to work, but I see like people doing a lot of live and Zoom to still have that sense of connection in this time of social distancing.
When I look at it, and I'm talking from a sports fan perspective now, there are three facets of life: family, work, and sports. 1/3 of that has been removed because there's no sports. What do you do? What do I do? What do I tell people? What do you advise people who they find a release in sports and that's gone now? How do they cope with that?
Probably reviewing pre-existing recorded sports feeds that watching.
They're going to send me into further depression.
Playing some FIFA.
Video games.
Our males like to engage in playing FIFA at times, so that might be helpful as well. I don't know.
What about children? Their attention span is
Teeny weeny.
yeah, just
very
small.
limited.
How do you work with them in a time like this?
Routine, again, I would really encourage parents to try to help them to stick to a routine as best as possible. I also work in a school setting, so I really know that my kids are staying connected. The teachers have them doing their Zoom classes, still allow them to go outside and have that time outside, like lunchtime, playtime, probably engage them in a lot of independent skills that in this time that they're home, right? They can learn how to cook something, those things, creativity, that boosting their creativity as well. That might be helpful for them.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you mentioned creativity because you look at all the challenges that are going on, the TikTok, as Sakina
Yes.
mentioned earlier. It's something that has changed how we approach life, but will that be a permanent change as we move forward from this?
It might be. I mean, listening to what the media has to say, we might be in this for a bit of a long haul. But when I think about it, the good thing is when we consider the last pandemic, there was no technology. So we do have that way of still being connected and feeling like we're a part of in what we're all experiencing.
Wow. The last thing I'd like to bring up is how do relationships survive in a situation like this? If you are sequestered away from your significant other, because there are a lot of people who are quarantined together, but what about when you are separated from the person that you are with? How do you maintain that kind of relationship?
I mean, as best as possible, keep connected, call, video chat, make time for each other just the same. I guess that's the best advice that I could give. Right now, I'm disconnected from my mom. She's stuck in the UK currently, so I tell her we have to call and chat to each other every day. I mean, she's safe where she is, and that's the best place right now because she's inside. But it might be for a while, you know.
Yeah.
So we keep connected by calling, video chatting on a daily basis.
Yeah. Thank you so much, my darling, for stopping by virtually.
Thank you.
And of course,
Thank you.
thank you for obtaining and keeping your social distance from everyone
Yes.
else. Licensed Associate Counseling Psychologist, Janelle Reid.